Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Shadows of Khadesa. Thank you for joining us for Chapter 7. Here with me, I have our fantastic cast for the day, and I'm going to turn it over to them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Denver. I'm going to be playing Tonic.
Hi, I'm Hayden, and I will be playing Nina.
I'm Maddie, and I'll be playing Zez.
Hi, I'm Suti, and I will be playing Shimo.
And I am Erin, your host and dungeon master. Last we left off with this particular group of faces. It's the eve of the Day of Misfortune, the third day of the fourth month, and at the current point in time, still nighttime, and our group of heroes kind of scattered across the central part of Khadesa, having just witnessed a rather peculiar event that has just transpired. We'll start off at the main temple grounds, where Mima, having accompanied Sovan into the crowd to kind of see what's been going on, having investigated a little bit of this strange occurrence, looking for perhaps various things that have gone on. Mima, you go to glance around, and in the gathering crowd that has amassed outside the temple, both trying to maybe see if they can hear what has just transpired, as well as catch a glimpse of the oracle. As you turn to look around, Svan has disappeared.
He's not worth the trouble. He's never worth the trouble. And I kind of step back into the crowd to kind of blend in a little bit. If he doesn't want to be seen, he is not going to be seen at this point. I know that much. But I'm just going to try to listen in, kind of pick up what I can from the people that are there.
Great, make me a perception check, if you will.
All right. 18.
As you've glanced around, kind of muttering to yourself, a little bit of annoyance as, but not surprise, given your history with Sovan. You kind of glance around a little bit, and as you mutter to yourself, a couple people give you a little bit of a sideways glance. Most of the crowd, however, is focused on the comings and goings of the various members of the Council of Speakers, as the oracle kind of recedes into the back area through the temple to the inner courtyard, and then to the inner sanctum behind that. The members of the Council of Speakers there dividing up to sort of gather the others. You hear some hushed whispers around you, most of them talking about how it's been months since anybody reports seeing the oracle. He rarely makes appearances nowadays. It's very rare to see him in public, especially accompanied by quite a few of the members of the council. There's kind of a sense of like reverence in their whispers, as well as some gossip and speculation still going on about the goings on of the evening. As you're kind of tuning into this conversation, there's kind of a quiet voice behind you as you feel somebody kind of move to stand just behind you, trying to not draw too much attention from the crowd as well. Just in a little bit of a quiet whisper. He's always trouble, but he means well.
I kind of try to surreptitiously glance behind me to see just who might be talking to me.
As you glance behind you, you see dressed in black robes, a hood drawn up, hiding most of white hair that you can see kind of peeking through, and well-tanned skin, and just very vibrant blue eyes glaring back at you. You've seen this individual before, usually around Savan, and you haven't exactly parted on the best of terms in the past.
You aren't worth the trouble either.
He kind of gives a little bit of a chuckle. I mean, I was going to say the same about you, but then I see you sneaking through the crowd with my old friend, and I thought I might inquire as to what you are doing here.
The same thing that everyone else is doing here, trying to figure out what just happened to all of us.
Did you see any of it? Up close, I mean.
Kind of sway back and forth, my tail just swishing ever so slightly. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Not really sure why I should be telling you either way.
This individual, Jin, as you know him, gives kind of a little bit of like a half smile. I figured you'd be just as difficult, but it doesn't hurt to ask. If Sivan asks, I was never here.
Well, now if we're talking about secrets, I don't keep those for free.
Another, little bit of a dry chuckle as he kind of reaches into the pouch on the belt that he wears, kind of tucked under the outer robes. Tosses you a gold coin. I don't carry much with me these days. Keep your eyes sharp. If only because, I'd hate to see Sivan in trouble.
Honestly, he's the one getting me in more trouble than the other way around.
He reaches up, kind of grabs the edge of the hood, pulls it a little further over his face as he starts to turn to walk back through the crowd and exit the temple. He does that. It's part of his charm. As he starts to walk away.
Not what I'd call charm. And I kind of fluff up my little collar, kind of indignantly.
Fluff up your collar, still kind of trying to blend into this crowd. Tonic, you find yourself kind of standing in the little bit more of the open space that sits in between the temple itself and then sort of the academic center of Khadesa, as you've kind of been following at an arm's length a couple of the individuals that you've learned to be part of the council and are looking for somebody. So you've kind of followed them heading towards the library. What are you doing?
Tonic is, everything is new to him, kind of. So I'm just looking around at everything, looking for anything that's interesting or unusual. Still kind of following them by default, just because they seem to possibly know more about how the city works and what might be going on. But I think I'm taking in everything, just looking all around, and I think I would be. Is the library would I know that it's a library, or is it just this huge building?
A pretty ornate building. You having just sort of awoken with really no memories or indication of what this city is. All you really see before you as you are following these two individuals is kind of a stone wall, pretty low set, only a few feet, but it's more just to mark off the grounds of these few buildings that lie behind it. And pretty much directly in front of you is a very large ornately decorated building, painted on the outer portion, largely red, golden accents, these very intricate looking pillars, and at the top of the pillars, kind of connecting them to the rooftop, are all these carvings of various creatures, dragons, cranes, sorts of just kind of symbology etched into the top. Just off to the left and slightly behind this building is another very large, expansive building, very similarly decorated, both of these standing several stories tall. And compared to the majority of the other buildings that you have passed through the streets to get to this point, these buildings are massive and they stand alone, not crowded in with other buildings as most of the others that you have passed have been. And really, with exception to the temple just kind of behind you now, these buildings are very, very eye-catching and grand, and some of the most intricate that you probably have ever seen, definitely the most intricate that you can remember seeing at this point in time.
I think I would be in awe, and just kind of staring up. And that, is there anybody like right around me, like just random people, or?
You pass a few individuals kind of going the other direction. Most of the people who are outside, who have kind of dared creep out of their homes to see what's going on, are gathering towards the temple. You realize that most of the other individuals who may seem like they know what's going on or have some sense of purpose have returned indoors to this large building in front of you.
I think I would just try to go in. I don't know if anybody's going to try to stop me or if I would even think about that. I'll just wander in.
Okay. As you kind of follow, but not so much with the purpose of following the two individuals in front of you, you watch them kind of enter the open doors to the library as you, less paying attention to them and your eyes more drawn towards the intricacies of this building, enter into this library. And as you do so, you see these kind of faintly glowing lanterns that are hung, not lit with like a traditional firelight. The light inside them is a lot cooler, a lot more of a white than a traditional kind of like yellow firelight. And it doesn't appear to be flickering. It's actually a very steady light. And as you walk in, you watch kind of out of the corner of your eye, the two individuals who had just entered before you walking up the stairs that are located towards the back of the library. And all around you, you see kind of an open entrance. And then past that, mostly just rows and rows of shelves that stand from floor to ceiling, covered in scrolls and books and various like kind of scholarly reports, things like that. Off to your left-hand side, there are a handful of tables with wooden chairs, also very nice, ornately carved. Probably not the most comfortable looking chairs. They're just wooden chairs, but an area for people to sit and do research, things like that. Right now, the tables stand empty as the few people that are in this lower level of the library are kind of nervously standing about, many of them casting glances up the stairs. You notice that most of the people who are in this library at the moment are dressed in kind of these either blue robes or red robes with a very similar style to them. Many of them have similar haircuts or hair pulled back, very neat. As a couple of them glance towards you, still kind of bundled up in your various, like your cloak. Can I help you?
I will bow like I have seen other people do, like I saw outside, just kind of imitating it.
The man who speaks, one of these individuals dressed in blue robes, he appears to be a human man, although there's a little bit of kind of a bluish tint to his skin, and he seems to have, his hair is mostly black, but appears like in the right lighting could look a very dark blue. He gives a little bit of a soft chuckle. Oh, that's really not necessary here, son.
Apologies, I am new to town, I should say.
Oh,
Uh,
then you have certainly picked quite the day to arrive in our city.
Indeed.
Where do you come from?
It's difficult to say. I have lost my memories. I seem to know basic things about nature and the world, but specifics, history, I am uncertain. Your library is impressive. Is it open to the public? Can I read?
He glances at one of the other individuals near him. They exchange a little bit of a look as he looks back to you. Oh, that seems to be quite an unfortunate incident. But yes, the this floor of the library is open to the public. Most of our basic records on the history of the city and the surrounding world, the religious texts are all available here. If there's something in particular you are looking for, any of our monks here would be more than happy to help you find something.
You are monks.
Uh,
Something
yes.
about that is familiar, but I don't. Do you? And his eyes kind of dim out, and the lights. His eyes are just kind of these glowing lights, kind of like the lanterns. And they're kind of like scanning back and forth, almost like he's reading something, and he's just trying to like remember information, and it's almost like his mind is something he has to re-explore. And then his eyes brighten up again, and he says, "Monks, masters of mind and body? Is that correct?"
The man smiles a little bit. And spirit, if you will.
Spirit. Even more intriguing. Can I ask you a strange question?
Certainly.
And I'll kind of hesitatingly pull my hood up a little bit and say, have you any experience with creatures like myself?
This man, you see as you kind of withdraw the hood a little bit, his eyes grow a little bit wide. Not so much with like surprise, but more with this genuine intrigue as he steps closer to you, kind of reaches up a hand, lifts it towards your face, and then, may I?
Yes, go ahead.
Kind of runs his hand across the surface of your forehead, looking side to side. Quite fascinating. Admittedly, I cannot say that I have ever seen something of the sort. I mean, I will say that I have seen, I guess you could say, figures like yourself, but they are stationary, just statues, decorations.
Yes, the kind people that were caring for me, they thought I was a statue until something this night awakened my body, my spirit. I don't know what I am, but there is something comforting about meeting monks. I may have traveled with monks, I may have trained, I don't remember.
Perhaps, can you read?
I think so. I have this book.
Oh.
And I pull out my little journal and I'm holding it carefully because it's like the only thing that has any ties to who I might be or what I might be, and I kind of hold it out and show it to him.
He kind of pulls his hand back, reaching out both hands to kind of glance at this book. Might I?
Yes, the people who were caring for me said the language was strange, but it seems to make sense to me.
They kind of, he starts to flip through it as one of these other monks kind of appears next to him, looking over his shoulder with curiosity. It seems to be notes, mostly.
Yes, observations perhaps, things with nature, physicality.
We do have quite the selection of books on the natural world. Perhaps something there might jog your memory.
Perhaps. That I am intrigued. That would be interesting.
Follow me. Let me get you some of these books.
Thank you.
Oh, I do apologize. We've had quite the eventful evening here. Where
Oh, yes, but of
a little
course.
things are a little off today. It's the library is usually much more of a relaxing atmosphere, but please.
Thank you.
He leads you back to a section of the shelving where he pulls off a book and a couple of scrolls, and then kind of guides you over to these tables where he sets them down. These are more of the basic information, you could say. This tome is sort of an introductory guide to the naturaleza around the city of Khadesa, the plants, the animals, things like that. If you are interested in such thing, perhaps this might help restore some of your memories as to how you got here, what you were doing, if these notes are even yours. It was written, some time ago now by one of our most noted scholars. And the scrolls here, many of them are sort of, I guess you could call them recipes or guides to various basic herbalistic remedies or things like that. I noticed your book has quite a few references to plants that are commonly used for medicinal purposes.
Yes, I think I was helping or working with herbalists or physicians or something. The memories are not there, but I feel as though this is what I was doing.
Well, if this does not help, then perhaps it would help you. Not right now. They are closed, and I'm sure also trying to find some semblance of understanding about tonight's events. But the building next door, it looks a little similar to this. That is our academy. Many of our scholars and physicians train there and go there to seek additional knowledge and things like that. Perhaps you could find some assistance there.
Does seem like a good place to find answers. That place and this place. I'm glad I found them.
Well, I'm glad that we could be, hopefully, of some assistance to you. What was your name, stranger?
I have been calling myself Tonic.
Tonic. That seems like an appropriate name, given any kind of references. His eyes dart to the small journal that you have with you. It definitely seems to be appropriate. You may call me Devi.
Devi, good to meet you.
And should you need anything, please do not hesitate to ask. Any of our staff here at the library are more than happy to help, well, anybody who is seeking knowledge and wisdom.
Much appreciated.
I shall leave you to your reading.
Thank you.
He kind of bows his head just slightly as he walks away, hands kind of folded in front of him. You hear him kind of cross over. Go ahead and make me a perception check, if you will.
There we go. That is 18.
Okay. As you kind of start to turn your attention towards these books, you overhear a glimpse of the conversation as this man returns to one of the other monks. Quite fascinating. I've never seen anything like it. I do hope he sticks around. I would quite like some answers myself. And the woman kind of gives a soft chuckle. You know who would love this? Says, yes, I know. It's a good thing she's upstairs. I don't think she'd give that poor... Is he a man? The woman kind of... I'm not sure. He seems to have the basic figure as if he was built, forged, created? We should definitely keep an eye on this. As they kind of just settle back into arranging things in the library, fading off into the background. You're left to kind of flip through these books. The book that you were given contains a number of images and sketches similar to the ones in your own journal, but very much like refined for publication. Very nicely organized notes and very extensive notes on names of various plants and animals, properties of them, observations that have been made. And the scrolls kind of contain lists of ingredients and the proper uses of them, how to mix certain poultices, things like that for various remedies. As you kind of are left to peruse these items that you've been left with, we go just up the stairs, where a young dragonling with her friends from the temple is still kind of trying to figure out also what has been going on. Zez, what are you doing in this moment?
Well, I think that Fujimi and I were going to try to go spy on Sora and whatever's going on up on the 3rd floor.
From the 2nd floor of the library, Fujimi has been kind of like looking out some of the various windows, trying to get a good vantage point.
And they're up on the 3rd floor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think I should go up on the roof? Could I see anything if I was up there? I don't think I could.
He looks, trying to find a good place for, you know what we need? Windowsills. That would make this much easier.
Yeah.
As he kind of like glances out one of the windows.
Do you wanna hold me out the window?
That might work. Come with me.
Just don't drop me.
Oh, I would not dream of it, little one.
Okay.
He kind of heads back with you behind him towards the end of the library, through these rows of shelves that are sort of more of private collections, as he runs down a row of shelves towards the end where there's like a little bit of just a small window covered by a very ornate silk curtain that he draws back to be able to unlatch and open the window. I definitely wouldn't be climbing these walls today. They're still wet and slippery, and it still appears to be a little bit rainy out here, but if we're careful, I think I can hold you up close enough to the upper window to be able to hear what's going on in there.
Okay. Yeah, we could try. Is it raining a lot?
A bit. It's slowing down.
Okay. I just don't want to get too cold. But yeah, let's try it. I'll try to get up to the other window, at least get my ear up there.
All right. And he kind of goes to sit on the edge of the window as he holds his hands out to you.
We're gonna get in so much trouble.
Only if we get caught.
That's right. Okay. I'll hop into his hands and
You kind of hop into his hands as he kind of like lifts you up. It's a good thing you're light. This is, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to hold this, but
you're super strong, so you could probably do it for a really long time.
well, it's a good thing it's you and not Sami. I don't think I could hold her. Well, I think Sami does that thing where she could. Why didn't we just ask Sami?
I don't know if she'd do it because she was kind of like rolling her eyes when we said we were going to go do this.
That's true. She's a bit more of the rule following type, and he kind of like tries to give you a little bit of a wink as he's like trying to extend his arms to lift you as close to the upper floor as he can.
I don't think she'll tell on us, though.
Oh no, she's very good at keeping secrets. Trust me,
Yeah.
I've been telling her things for years, and as far as I know, they've never made their way back to Sora, but Sora is also very good at keeping secrets.
Oh.
So tell.
But if it was something that would get you in trouble, she probably would have got you in trouble.
See, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten in trouble yet. Can you here, let me see if I can get a little bit closer. As he's trying to like shift and get you close. You're still like several feet below the window on the upper floor as you're like trying to reach your like your nose and your ears up towards it.
Is there's any kind of like ledge or anything that I could try to grab? He said there was no windowsills, but
not really. Like the windows themselves have like an inch worth of ledge to them. The window, however, is like still a couple feet above you.
I can't reach it. It's still like another one of me up.
Here, the little bit to the side here. Let me see if I can. Careful. As you were like starting to get a little bit slippery as like the rain was falling over you, and he's like trying to very carefully maneuver. See if you can hear anything. Go ahead and make me a perception check, if you will.
Okay. 9.
You're trying to listen, but between the constant movement from below, as well as just like the sound of the rain and being a little further away, you can hear that there is definitely a conversation going on. You can hear different voices, but it's so hard to make out exactly what is being said. And as you're trying to listen, you hear this. What are the two of you doing? Nothing?
I'd like to imagine that Mima's outside and like looks over at the library and
Jimmy kind of like lowers his arms as you're still trying to like listen. You feel yourself kind of lowering back as he kind of pulls you into the window. And standing there, right in front of you is Sami, who has her hands on her hips, one eyebrow raised at you, and just kind of has this like subtle smile on her face. You can tell she's like trying to be stern, but is highly amused by this entire scene.
Well, we just wanted to know what's happening upstairs, but we don't want them to know that we know, you know?
She laughs a little bit. Why am I not even surprised? You
Want help?
could have just asked.
Ask them or ask you?
Me, of course. I'm
Can you
not
help
as
us?
stubborn as some people think I am. And she kind of like shoots a sideways glance at Fujimi, who reaches up to kind of scratch the back of his head. Yes, I heard that whole conversation. Rules are there for a reason, but sometimes...
You were spying on us while we were spying on someone else?
I was not spying on you. I just happened to be looking for you, and this one does not exactly talk quietly.
You gotta talk more quiet like this, or else people will hear you and we'll get busted.
Work on that. Yes. Sami just kind of shakes her head. Comes kind of like squeezes in between the two of you to look up at the window above you. Zez.
Yeah.
How good are you at grabbing onto things with your it's okay, we can repaint them later.
Yeah. I could try to be careful to not. But
I would prefer you be more careful not to fall, personally.
Oh, yeah, that's probably a better idea. Because I can't bring myself back to life, but I can paint my nails again.
Yes, well, I think I have a way to get you up there if you can just grab onto that little bit of an edge at the window.
I can try to.
Great. Fujimi, if you'll help me out here. And Fujimi kind of like lifts you back up out towards the window. And he's like, okay, just a little bit of a toss. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Thoughts of flying. Channel that in a dragon.
Dragon.
Yes, you are a very wise and strong and powerful dragon.
Yeah.
As he kind of like bends his arms a little bit, and then like pushes upwards to get you kind of towards the air, and you feel kind of a gust of wind that courses up from underneath you and kind of shoots you up further in the air. If you will make an acrobatics check for me.
Ooh, yay. It's good. It is a 24.
Okay, as you go shooting upwards, the few feet that you need to be able to reach this lip, you actually like pass the window and get a slight glimpse of what is going on inside. You see the familiar room that you had caught a glimpse of earlier. A kind of a piece of cloth has been draped now over the figure of a body, presumably the same monk that you had seen deceased beforehand. And you see Sora and her husband with these two kind of very well-dressed lion-esque figures who seem to be in conversation. As you start to pass down by the window again, you grab onto the window and are just kind of like hanging there, just out of sight. Go ahead and make me a perception check again with advantage this time, if you will.
How's the nail polish look?
You probably actually kept it pretty well intact. You just sunk your claws right in, no scraping.
Perception check. 18.
Okay. As you kind of lean in a little bit to catch a glimpse of the conversation that is being had, you hear one of these individuals speaking, kind of more of a feminine voice. I'm not exactly sure what any of this is in this book. You said you found it like this? Strange. Another voice, also one you don't recognize. Do you think that this might have been what caused all of this or started it? It did seem that the shadows began here in the library, but the fact that they were coming out of other places seemed so strange. You hear the very soft voice of Sora responding. We're not sure of anything at this point, unfortunately. There's just a lot of questions, and the more we look into things, it's more questions and no answers. I have some of my more experienced monks combing through the reserves of the library beneath to see if there's maybe any lost records or things like that, in more of our restricted pieces of information, but so far none of them have returned with anything useful. There's kind of a moment of silence, kind of a pensive silence, before the female voice that you aren't familiar with speaks back up. Well, if there's something that comes along, please be sure to let the council know immediately. Whatever happened, it was enough to bring the Oracle out of whatever reclusive hiding place he's been in for the last few weeks. So, that's a matter of utmost importance, and discretion is preferred until we know a little bit better what this is. The public's already panicking. No need to cause any more harm than has been done today. Sora, of course, and if there's anything that you should require, the Oracle should require, we are happy to be of whatever assistance that we can. You are aware that the prince from up north is paying a visit tomorrow, right? And they give a nod. It's a concern of ours, yes. Do we think it might be connected? I don't think so. However, I'm also not a man that believes too much in strangeness on such important evenings. Or rather, misfortunate evenings. Keep your wits about you. You hear them kind of turn to exit the study, heading down the stairs. As you hear the whisper, Zez, drop.
I just let go.
As you do,
Just fall.
yeah. Fortunately, Fujimi is pretty experienced. As you start to like slide down the side of the building, he kind of grabs you from the window and pulls you back in. As Sami very quickly pulls the window shut and replaces the blinds. She kind of leans against one of the shelves. Fujimi kind of sets you down
Act
and
casual.
like smoothing your clothing out, trying to like hide the fact that your robes are now like soaking wet. As like kind of got his back to the main portion of the second floor, as you kind of catch a glimpse of these two individuals, white robes decorated with gold, walking by. You see the woman actually has a small child with her, who she's kind of rocking, as this child is kind of just making babbling noises. As you hear this, "Will Dwagon!"
Yeah, hi.
As you stick your hand out, Fujimi kind of the two individuals stop for just a moment. The woman gives a little bit of a chuckle. You can go say hi. As this kid is like trying to climb down her robes, you see this small child has sort of a little bit of like a snout-like feature, the kind of feline style nose, little patches of what looks like might be a mane starting to come in, is dressed in sort of this golden colored silk pants with a little tunic top, comes like waddling over to you. You can see a little wisp of a tail kind of peeking out from one of the pant legs as he walks around, reaches a hand out towards you.
Hi, I'm Zez. I got sparkly claws.
He looks at your nails and then kind of reaches down to like pull up his pant leg to show you the same, like very similar tone of gold.
His leg is gold?
His pant leg is.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's a lot of shiny stuff. It looks really good.
He kind of reaches a hand up and is like grabbing at one of your nails.
Yeah, it doesn't come off. It would, but it probably hurt.
He looks and then like looks back at these two individuals behind him. The woman has kind of taken a few steps forward. Be nice now. Don't. No, those are her hands. And she kind of like reaches down to like try and scoop him away. Apologies, little one.
It's okay. What's his name?
We just call him Junior, to be honest.
Oh. That makes sense.
He'll receive a name when he's old enough to choose one for himself, but for now...
Oh, he gets to pick his own name?
Well, that's a tradition in our family.
Oh, that's really cool. I don't know what I would pick if I got to pick a name. Maybe I'll
Probably
think about it.
dragon. Fujimi kind of like coughs from behind you.
Well, that's what I am. That's not what I would name myself. That's like if you named yourself Person.
The man, this newcomer, kind of chuckles a little bit. The little one does have a point. Granted, that's why we have to wait until they're a little bit older. Otherwise, we'd have these children naming themselves all sorts of absurd sorts of things. We'd have like biscuit and
Cookie.
I don't know, tulip
And-
cookies, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna try to find a dragon name for myself.
well, there are certainly many within mythology.
Do you know where
Very good
dragons
one.
live?
Well, of course, they live in Elastra, the plane of radiance. They're guiding beings.
Is that far away?
In a sense, yes, both near and far.
Zez is like trying to think about that. It just does not compute. Something
You
can
feel-
be near and far.
Sami's hand kind of like ruffle the top of your head as if you had hair. Kind of gets your ears a little bit. Don't think on it too hard, little one.
Okay. I just want to find them. Find the dragons.
Don't worry. I'm sure you'll find them eventually.
Well, it was good to meet you.
The woman kind of
You're nice.
scoops the child up. Thank you. It is a pleasure to meet you well. Little one, tell me, what is your name?
My name's Zez.
Zez.
I live here in the library.
Well, what an exciting place to grow up.
Yeah.
She kind of picks up the little one. You can call me Nuo.
Nuo. Nice to meet you, Nuo and Junior. And
Look
And
at
she
the
kind
other
of-
guy.
Looks back. And my brother is Juan.
Juan. Nice to meet you all. I'm glad I got to talk to you.
It has been a pleasure to meet you too, little one. Junior here was quite excited, and you can see this little child still kind of like reaching out towards you, kind of like trying to play with one of your ears as he like pulls his hand back. No, that's rude. You don't want people doing that to yours. Apologies for the interruption.
Okay.
You should get out of those wet things. You're going to catch something.
Yeah, I was in the rain.
Well, it is a very rainy day.
Mhm.
She kind of gives a little bit of a chuckle as she picks this kid up, kind of settles him back on her hip, the two of them starting to walk away. Fujimi kind of like leans against one of the bookshelves.
Those guys were nice.
Fortunately, yes. Well, I've been meeting a lot of members of the council today. What an eventful day.
Yeah.
So what
Oh.
did you learn?
Not a lot of stuff. I did learn that the visitor is the prince from the north. He's still coming tomorrow. Does that mean we still have to catalog the library even though we got attacked by shadow monsters today?
I'm going to guess we should probably get back to work before Sora comes down those stairs.
Yeah. But they don't know what happened. They found the book, the black one that I told you about, and then the guy who was dead. I don't know who it was though. I couldn't see. I hope it wasn't one of our friends, but yeah, they said that they just found the book like that and all the shadows came out of the library, so maybe they came out of the book and there's people looking down in the restricted stuff for information, but they haven't found any yet.
Fujimi glances up at Sami, who returns his glance with like this scowl. Don't even think about it. And Fujimi kind of like leans towards you, says, "Oh, it's too late for that."
Yeah, it looks
Sami
like it
kind
is.
Turns around. I heard nothing of this. I am not going to be a part of this. Sending Zez out the window was more than enough for me tonight. I'm going to go get out of these wet clothes, and I suggest both of you do the same before you do anything that is going to get yourselves in trouble.
Okay.
And she starts to walk off. Fujimi leans over to you. Little trip to the basement tonight.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh,
Let's
what?
get some of my gloves.
I don't even know what we're looking for, but yeah, let's do it.
I don't either, but I really want to know.
Me too.
As he kind of grabs your hand to shuffle you down the stairs. In the main entrance of the library, there's kind of like a back door that goes to sort of the area where the monks keep their personal effects and things like that. As you head down the stairs and start to head towards that door, you see a couple of the other monks, a pair of individuals. One of them is a man by the name of Debbie, and another is a woman by the name of Akara. And the two of them seem to be kind of discussing and casting odd glances at an individual, cloak kind of still up above his head, who is reading some books in the library. And at this point in time, he is the library's really sole proprietor. Debbie kind of waves to you.
I'll run over.
Yeah. I've been doing good things today.
Have you now? Have you been a very good helper?
Yeah. Just like every day.
Oh, we know it. And he kind of exchanges a glance with Akara, who, like, shakes her head. And he kind of... You should meet the new fellow. He's quite interesting.
Yeah? How?
Well, go get some dry clothes on and then go find out for yourself.
Okay. I met lots of cool people today.
Oh, well, I think you're about to add one more to your list.
Good, I'm excited.
No.
Fujimi kind of, come on, it's getting cold.
Yeah, it is cold. Let's hurry.
So I scurry on back. Change.
You head back to change into some dry clothes. Meanwhile, Shimo, as you have been making your way kind of from the academy, kind of peeling off back towards the library, make me a perception check, if you will.
Oh, it's all dark. Okay, well, that's a 21.
Okay. As you leave the academy, kind of having been directed to the scholars' housing, and instead kind of taking a little bit of a detour. As you do so, kind of walking across the courtyard, you see something that catches your eye pretty much right away. From the second floor of the library, you see a small figure being essentially thrown upwards, and holding on to a ledge on the third floor for a few minutes before dropping back down.
Can I see anything inside that window?
From your vantage point, about all you can see is there's a light on inside of the room, and you can see like the vague silhouettes of a couple of individuals, and this figure kind of seems to be pulling themselves up toward the window as if they are listening to something. You see kind of this reptilian tail swishing back and forth, just peeking out of like monks' robes.
Huh. Curious. The stage just getting curiouser and curiouser. And pick up my stride to enter the library.
As you enter the library, walking in, a couple of individuals, a couple of the monks from the library, one of them looks to you. Good evening. Can we be of assistance to you?
Shimo respectfully takes off his hat and, making sure that the rainwater and everything just drips outside, along with, drying off his feet and everything. Yes, Do you have any word on what happened here? Who is the assistant, by the way?
This is you are familiar with the members of the library staff. This is Debbie, and next to him, a woman by the name of Akara. And not too far off from them, you see another monk who appears pretty new. Somebody that you're not familiar with. Seems very young, human, young boy, kind of in the sort of entry-level monk's garb. As these two look to you, I am afraid we are just as, well, in the dark, you could say, about this whole situation as everybody else.
Really? Including you, Debbie. That surprises me. You seem to know a little bit of everything that goes on around here.
He kind of leans in just a little bit. To be honest, I'm still waiting for Sora to return from her meeting with the, and he kind of glances upstairs. The visitors that we have. A couple of the speakers arrived to inquire about the whole situation, and sure, I will have some information shortly, I hope. I do know that Sora sent some of our monks down into the lower levels below the temple to search through the hidden archives.
The hidden archives. Interesting. That's quite intriguing. Huh. Maybe I'll be over here and keep a watch for Sami.
Of course. I actually, real quickly, I did have something I think you in particular might be interested in.
Oh?
A new book that was donated to us just a week ago. While you're waiting.
Yes. Yes, I am interested.
And he motions to the young boy to kind of follow to where you guys are, and this young boy, very wide-eyed, looks happy to be there, comes walking up. Wrongstay, if you don't mind, would you show our friend here the new calligraphy collection? He looks to you. We got in a sort of calligraphy guide from the Southern Isles. It's actually quite interesting. Some expansion, perhaps, to your form.
Intriguing. And he still kind of glances back at the group, knowing that Devi knows his weakness in wanting more information in his craft, but takes the bait anyways.
As this boy kind of shows you over to a section of the library, you pass by the tables, and at the tables is a sole individual who seems kind of buried in his books as this boy very eagerly walks over to one of the shelves, kind of like, right here. These are very, I can't actually read them. That I admittedly, I'm still learning my languages, but they're very interesting, and he kind of grabs some of the books and hands them to you.
I'm sure. Thank you.
As you're doing so, you hear a little bit of an exchange kind of happening, kind of a kind of small, mousy voice, a deeper man's voice. Voices that you've heard in the library before. You've seen you've seen some of these individuals around. You hear Sami's voice just briefly as she kind of walks back into the back room. And then the smaller voice that you hear, suddenly kind of things start coming together as you've heard that voice. It's the little dragonling who has kind of been taken under the wing of the library staff recently, and all of a sudden the scene outside the window is starting to make a little more sense.
Peer around whatever shelf I may be nooked behind to see if I can see the little dragonling.
You kind of glance back out to the main portion, like leaning out from the shelves, these books in your arms. You see this little dragonling, Fujimi, this kind of little bit of a stockier built man walking into the back room, both of them in wet robes to go get changed. As you do so, you kind of watch. A moment later, Sami reemerges, kind of now in dry monk's robes. Now, back to cataloging.
Well, hello, Sami.
Oh, Chimo!
It's lovely to see you, as always.
It's always good to see you. Oh, I see you've already been shown the new acquisitions.
Yes, of course. They are quite lovely. I've heard there was a commotion here. It affected quite a few of the academy, and word has it started here. Are you okay, dear?
She kind of like places a hand on her chest. Thank you for asking. Quite all right. A little shaken. Did you see it? Also, it was, well, unlike anything I've ever seen.
That must have been terrifying. Right, you were here, right here, where it happened.
It was, she kind of pulls you towards like the tables to kind of converse. And Tonic, you hear these two individuals. You see one of them, kind of fox-like features peeking out from under his cloak, tail kind of just visible underneath. And this woman, a genasi dressed in the very similar style monk robes as a Devi who had shown you to the table and given you these books. She kind of pulls this fox-like creature to the side. Fujimi and Zez and I went running out to the academy to see if we could help, and, it's the strangest thing. Some of the soldiers, even some of the other monks, they seem to be almost, I don't want to say possessed, but almost like that. Their eyes turned like this glowing purple, and they turned on us, and it was quite frightening.
Sounds like quite the ordeal.
Did you hear anything of this, what happening inside the academy?
I did go in to see, and I heard the same descriptions.
She kind of gives a little bit of a sigh. Meanwhile, Zez, as you're putting on new dry clothes, Fujimi turns to you. Right. Here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to go back out there, act real casual, just so that Sami doesn't suspect we're doing anything. And then we're going to find
already
an excuse.
knows.
Okay, but she wants what we call plausible deniability. So we're going to go out there and pretend like we're going to help catalog, and then we're going to create a distraction, and then we're going to sneak back into here, and we're going to pick that lock and head down those stairs.
Plausible. What?
Deniability.
I didn't hear anything you said after that.
Out there, find Sami, pretend we're doing something, create distraction, pick lock downstairs.
Okay, I think I got it that time.
Great. Act casual.
Yeah, casual.
We have no plans. We are going to
go talk to
get
a new
around
friend.
the library.
No, I'm going to talk to a new friend.
Okay, but he seems like he's reading. Don't be too much of a distraction now. Besides, we have to get downstairs.
Do we have to get down there real fast?
I guess we're not in that much of a hurry, no, but... Okay, fine, you can talk to him. Okay. So you walk back out, you see Sami talking to a familiar individual that you've seen come and go in the library. As you start to look, his name is like Shiva, Shira, Shima. You're not. It's something. It'll come to you. As you see him speaking with Sami, you see this other individual just kind of behind them, still at the table. Tonic, you are hearing this exchange as you see this little dragonling, now in dry clothes, emerging again. And Shimo, kind of, as you hear the back door open, you see Fujimi and Zez returning.
You kind of see a little flick of the tail from under robes. Just, it's like, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, Sami turns to you. I'm glad you're all right, and,
Oh, yes, of course. And don't worry, dear. Well, I'm sure things will work out.
Find answers. She usually does. Well, I'll leave you to it. If you need help with anything, finding anything, just let us know. You know where to find us.
Of course. You're always so thoughtful.
She kind of walks off, kind of returning to the shelves, straightening things out, going about her business. What are you doing at this moment, Shimo?
Going to go in, interject the little dragon folk and I'm blanking on his name. I can't remember the older gentleman's name, but
Fujimi.
He's always getting in trouble.
So you walk up.
Throwing dragonlings out windows.
He kind of straightens his collar. Shimo! What are you doing here after such a crazy night?
What else do you think I'm doing here?
Getting books, I see.
Well, that's to save off at least one curiosity.
He kind of chuckles and then looks at Zez. Casual.
I'm casual.
Is casual hanging outside of a window?
No. Why would we do that?
Why would you do that?
I wouldn't. It's raining, it's cold.
It sure is. Oh, wow. Your claws, are they golden?
Yeah, Sami painted them for me.
Beautiful.
And they didn't even chip when I was working.
Fujimi looks down at you.
That's some pretty strong paint to hold up to all that work.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, cataloging books is very strenuous work on the hands.
Yep, because you gotta pick them all up.
Hmm.
Yeah, put them on a shelf.
I suppose I can relate. And you see ink stains all over Shimo's hands, and there's like little bits of ink marks here and there of just like either in little bits of his white hair or robes or stuff. Yeah.
Well, usually the ink doesn't get on me because it's all dry. But you make pretty words with your ink.
Yes. I ran into Sami. We had a little chat.
Mm-hmm. I like Sami.
Yes. She was upstairs a little while ago. Mentioned you?
Me?
Well, the two of you particularly.
Fujimi kind of like shifts awkwardly.
All right, Fujimi. You know that I know. Are you gonna let me in on this or not?
Make a persuasion check for me.
Oh boy. Well, that's not too bad. 10?
Okay. He kind of like glances around. What exactly were we talking about? I seem to have gotten distracted. Meanwhile, Tonic, you're hearing this little exchange happening.
Tonic,
not too far.
Tonic has been 1,000 yards staring in that direction since he overheard them talking about the stuff that happened in the night. Because he kind of was shaken out of his studies and he realized that they're talking about the thing that brought him here, and he's just been kind of staring off into. Like, it's hard to tell if he's staring off into the distance or staring in their direction, but he's like stopped looking at the scrolls and he's just like catatonic.
Uh,
Yes. What exactly was it? We were talking about the rain, weren't we?
you were here. You were here last night.
Yes, it was very rainy.
And terrifying from what I've heard.
And
Very,
shadow
very dark
monsters.
He looks back at you, Zez.
Monsters!
I didn't know that part was a secret.
Tonic stands up.
Plausible
Wow.
deniability, Zez.
I don't know what those words mean.
Goodness, says you must have been scared. Were you scared?
No.
You were not. Did you
No.
fight the monsters?
Yeah. I was really brave,
Oh,
and
I am.
I tried
impressed.
to breathe my dragon breath on them, but it didn't work.
Tonic is
Really?
moving like steadily closer. He's like fascinated by this because like I saw the shadows from a distance, and hearing that someone was actually fighting them is intriguing. So I'm getting closer and like just like I don't know how to interject, but I'm just like kind of sidling up.
Can we see this like big
Yeah.
clunky?
It's kind of like this awkward little shuffle. It's a little like stiff and almost like jerky movements.
So they're immune to your dragon fire?
Well, no, the dragon fire didn't even go.
Oh.
But you'll get that, little one. You'll get that. Oh, I think your friend came to say hi.
Sorry, hello, I'm Tonic.
Hi, Tonic.
Can we see that he's? Can we see his face?
He's
I'll make
really
a
bad at
perception
hiding it.
check.
Perception check.
Yes.
11. I'm really
You're
far
not
down.
sure if he's wearing like this strange mask or like what is going on, but something is covering what should be like a face.
Shimo's tail picks up again. Well, things are getting a little more curiouser.
Tonic will like it's kind of a slow process. He's like 6'4" and kind of skinny, but he like starts to bend down at the knees and like sinks all the way down until he's like almost sitting on the ground, and he kind of cocks his head to the side and looks at Zez and says, "Are you a monk like the others? You were fighting the shadows?"
Yeah. I'm kind of a monk. They've been teaching me.
It is interesting.
I,
Could they teach me?
yeah, I think so. You want to learn?
Could you teach me?
You hear a couple you hear a couple little footsteps next to you as this young boy, also in the monk's garb, looks up at you, Tonic, I think it'd be really cool if you joined.
I turn my head as far as it'll go to look at him without moving my body.
He kind of like, you see him get like a little bit shy and nervous as he like runs off to hide behind somebody else.
I do the wave that I vaguely remember from my only memory.
He peeks his head out from behind Devi, who waves a little bit. Devi kind of like scoots him off to the side. No. Come on, we've got work to do. Kind of shuffles him back over to the shelves.
I mean, I didn't fight them a lot because I didn't know what to do because it was shadows. But I did hit them, and they like went away, and they came back. Like
So
this.
You could hit them?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It didn't do a lot, but it made them go back a little bit before they came forward again.
As far as I know, that is unusual for shadows. But
Yeah.
then again, so is the tentacle thing.
Yeah, I'd never seen it. And also, I wasn't scared because I'm not scared of anything. But there were some people and their eyes turned purple and they started fighting us instead of the shadow.
That also seems unusual.
It was because I know them and they usually don't fight us.
They were your friends? They turned on you with purple eyes?
Yeah. Right?
And I look at Fujimi.
Is this stuff
Yes.
secret?
Yes.
Nobody told me that it was secret. I thought everybody saw it.
I mean, it wasn't really a secret so much. Now they know we know it.
But we don't know
you
any
know.
more. We don't know any more than
Anything
that
else.
stuff.
Nothing else.
Nothing. Yeah, we don't know anything else. We're very confused.
As you guys are having this conversation, you hear Devi speak to somebody else who has just entered the library, and you hear Devi kind of, "Oh, good day, sir. Might we be of assistance to you? Kind of a much busier night for this hour, isn't it?" You hear another voice, kind of very soft. Yes, I heard my uncle was here earlier. I heard he was all right, but I just wanted to make sure that you were all right, and thank you for protecting him. Devi kind of clears his throat, straightens a little bit, and those of you who kind of look towards the door, you see an individual standing there wearing a kind of just simple dark overcoat, kind of like a burgundy color, hiding the more ornate silk robes. He has bright red skin, and you can see little wisps of almost what look like cracks along like the lines of his face, with a faint orange glow underneath them. Long hair tied back into a ponytail that starts at sort of a black near the roots and fades down into a series of red and then orange to little traces of a very vibrant yellow, and almost seems to glow slightly. I heard that this is where everything started. Are all of you all right? As he turns to see the group of you standing there having this conversation. Oh, good evening to all of you.
Hi.
Hello, little. Are you all right too? I heard there was quite the scene here tonight.
Yeah, shadow monsters.
Yes.
They
He kind of chuckles as Shimo Yugo to Hush says, "Do not
I
worry.
thought everybody knew about them.
Well, I certainly know of the events. My uncle, but perhaps you saw him while he was here on Lai.
We saw him for a second, right?
Yes.
Like he ran upstairs.
I think so. I saw a guy who looked kind of like you, but I didn't see a lot of him.
Well, probably for the better. Hopefully that means he stayed out of the thick of things. He's getting old, you know. Well, forgive me. I do not mean to intrude on your conversation. I simply came to make sure that things were okay here. I knew that my uncle was here. He mentioned being in the library, and that the monks, and he looks particularly to you, Zez, and then Fujimi, and then kind of casts a glance back at Debbie and this young boy, were particularly helpful to my uncle, and, well, I thank you for your assistance.
You're welcome. We like to help.
Meanwhile, as you guys are meeting this new individual, Mima, what would you like to do? Kind of in the crowd at the temple. After a few moments, as the oracle has disappeared, the council of speakers has dispersed, the crowd is also slowly beginning to peel away.
Is it still raining?
It is.
First
It's
thing
slowing.
First thing I'm doing is stealing a parasol from someone.
You see that in the panic and the rush of the events of the evening, there are some parasols that have been left behind at the temple entrance in these bins. You have your choice of color, even, as you see several of these parasols still just lying there.
Being the kind of gaudy person that I am, I'm taking the prettiest one.
You find one that is kind of like a dark pink color, kind of ordained with cherry blossoms across it, little bits of gold flecks across it. Definitely, it's pretty.
And as I open it and it's kind of obscuring me, I'll cast Disguise Self to change my appearance.
Okay.
And just petite human woman, long, like waist-long black hair with the straight-across hime cut, a simple hanbok, and I'm going to head out and see if I can figure out where Jin went.
Okay, make me a perception check, if you will.
Sure thing. 14.
Okay. As you glance out into the rain, you see the same kind of cloaked figure that has kind of slipped his way through the crowd, heading off kind of across the bridge from the temple into like the first couple of rows of houses, and you see him kind of duck behind one of the houses for a second, hood still up over his head, and then just a few seconds later he steps back out of the shadows, still wearing this dark cloak, and comes back across the bridge, but veers and starts heading towards the library.
I'm gonna tail him towards the library then.
Okay. As you very, very carefully tail him heading towards the library, you see him just as he reaches the doors to the library pull back the hood of the cloak, and in place of white hair, you see the dark roots and the slight glow of this long ponytail. Skin replaced with red as you see the glimpses of his hands that go to pull back the hood.
We've been bamboozled.
Approach the library. You see this now, who appears now to be a fire genasi, speaking in a very different voice than you've heard before, talking to a handful of individuals.
I'm going to... Does it seem like there's anyone in my way of going up to them and joining this conversation?
No, as you are kind of approaching the library doors, kind of seeing into the main portion of the library, just off to your right-hand side, you can see one of the human monks kind of ushering a young boy to go manage the shelves. And then just to your left is this kind of eclectic group of individuals. And as you watch Jin, now in this fire genasi form, approach this group, you see a human man, a little bit bigger in frame, dressed in the monk's robes of the library. Right next to him is very much a contrast in height. This man standing at about 6 feet tall. Right next to him is a small dragonling, the big kind of floppy red ears, also dressed in the monk's attire. Sort of just to the side of the two of them is this strange figure wearing this cloak. Seems a little awkward and out of place, and appears to be wearing some sort of mask or facial covering that appears to be like carved wood and things like that.
Is he still like sitting on the ground?
Yeah, I think I stayed that way.
As kind of at the sitting, still slightly taller than the dragonling, and then accompanying them as well is wearing like the big straw hat, bundled up cloak, and you see a similar appearing tail peeking out from under that cloak that reminds you a little bit of yourself. As you walk in, the four of you approached initially by this young man, this fire genasi, and then just after him, a human woman with this very, very elegant parasol. She's stopping at the door to kind of shake the rain off of. Mima, what were you doing?
I'm going to walk up to the group to Jen's side and kind of surreptitiously brush my tail up against his leg. I'm so sorry I lost you in the crowd. I'm glad I was able to catch up with you.
He glances at you. Glances back to the group. Oh, I just thought that I would, come, pay my thanks to the people that, helped my uncle this evening.
Well, you wouldn't mind if I accompany you, would you?
Not at all.
After everything that's happened tonight, I'm a little reluctant to walk home alone.
This fire genasi turns back to the rest of you. Forgive my intrusion. Ongchet is my name. And kind of holds out a hand to Fujimi first, and kind of extends it to you, Zez.
I shake it with both hands.
Kind of have to reach up a little bit, grabbing his hand. He extends his hand next to you, Tonic.
Tonic will sort of reach up and then realize that that's a little weird, and he stands up too fast and then reaches straight out too fast. And then kind of like as he does both things, he kind of realizes at the end that was a little like odd, and so he then slowly takes the hand and like to overcompensates and shakes it slowly and then kind of pulls his hand back kind of jerkily to try to, and then just drops it to the side.
Tonic, will you make me an insight check, please?
It is 16.
As you take this fire genasi's hand, there's a brief second where his eyes kind of dart to your hand, and there's a look in his eyes, almost like recognition of something, or a familiarity, as he looks back to you. Forgive me. What
I immediately look forward and kind of cock my head. Like, Tonic doesn't know how to play it cool. And I like get a little closer and a little closer.
He kind of like backs up a little bit as you're like face right next to his. I don't believe we have met before, but and he like kind of now collecting himself, leans in a little bit. Forgive me, for a second I was worried that well, not worried, but perhaps I was running into an old friend. And as he says that, Mima, he kind of like shuffles his foot just to the side to like kick the side of your foot.
Kind of give a little kick back to him. And I'm Hibiki. It's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Oh, and he offers his hand to you, Shimo.
Do I recognize his name?
Absolutely. Ong Chet is the nephew of one of the members of the Council of Speakers, Ong Lai, who is the current speaker for the Roa Sari. Give me a history check, if you will.
$14.
Ong Chet was a member of kind of the not so much military as sort of Khadesa has this sort of explorative group of forces who are essentially there to help back and support delegates or representatives from the city who go to outlying colonies and things like that. Ong Chet is kind of a prominent member of this sort of military force, sort of like elite guard force, and has been known to accompany particularly his uncle on many different visits and things like that to the outlying towns and even to some of the other nations further north or the Isles to the south.
Shimo is holding the scrolls and books and just moves a little wisp of hair to the side as he extends his hand and says, I cannot take credit for work no credit is deserved. Though I am surprised that you were not with your uncle, perhaps escorting him. Did you join the fight?
Tonight, no, actually. I only recently returned to town. I was with my family on the far north side of town when all of this happened. My uncle assured me that he was with his, I think he's calling her a protege these days. Soon to be successor.
The lovely lady. Yes.
If by lovely you mean the scary one, yes.
Oh, all women are scary.
Not all of them.
Sure.
And Mima, you can almost he doesn't look your direction. Feel that comment directed right at you.
I kind of turn my head away and just hide my smile behind my sleeve.
Well, forgive my intrusion again on your conversation and my friend's intrusion as well. We're simply looking for our own answers to this situation. I shall leave you to it. And Fujimi kind of leans down and taps your shoulders and gives you a little bit of a look.
Bye.
He kind of sighs. Actually, I think that it's a pleasure to have such an esteemed member of our city's history here. Why don't we offer you a tour? And he says this very loudly, and as he does, he glances at Sami across the room.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
The Spire Genasi looks at you, Zez, and then looks at him. A tour. you say? Doesn't
Got a
have
lot of
to be
books.
the exclusive sorts of tour, does it? And Fujimi kind of, oh, don't worry, your friend can come too. And he looks at you, Mima, and you see the expression on Jin's face just become very, very like annoyed. And well, why don't we just make it a big tour for everybody? And he looks at you, Tonic and Shimo.
I will do that little bow that I saw somebody else do.
After all, I think our friend here. My apologies. I don't think I got your name, good sir. And he looks at you, Tonic.
Oh, forgive me. My name is Tonic. For now.
For now is good. We met a young child the other day, or actually just a few minutes ago, that apparently he gets to pick his own name when he's old enough. So perhaps, that Zez is thinking about possibly changing her name.
Yeah. To a dragon name. But I don't know any dragon names yet.
That seems fitting.
A dragon name.
You said you wanted to perhaps study with the monks. Our friend Shimo here is no stranger to the library, so I'm sure we'll have a grand little tour.
I would love to.
Great, let's go. And he starts to walk towards the stairs first on the side. And as he passes Sami, Zez, you see a very familiar raised eyebrow on Sami's face as she just kind of shakes her head and turns the other direction.
As we pass Sami, Shimo will put a hand on her shoulder and give her a reassuring smile.
She kind of just leans over her shoulder just a little bit. Keep him out of trouble, please.
Of course. And he continues to walk with his little tail just swishing back and forth like a happy cat.
Fujimi leads you first up the stairs to the second floor. Well, this is the area of the library that is a little bit more of a private collection. We have individuals that donate books to sort of our esteemed collection, and those people are allowed entrance into sort of the most speciality sort of books here. And he is just talking, and Shimo, you know Fujimi well enough to know that he's just
rambling
stalling and trying to create some sort of a guise as he turns around. And further upstairs are the offices, which I think currently they're having some important business up there, so we'll skip that for now. If you'll follow me back downstairs, Tonic, I can show you where the monks' quarters are. I'm sure it's a place you might become very familiar with shortly.
Oh,
You can have a sleepover with us.
That does sound fun.
Zez, I think he planned on possibly staying a little longer than that.
Lots of sleepovers.
I'm gonna kind of try to get Fujimi's attention so I can whisper something to him.
He looks, yes, and he kind of kneels down.
Is it mean to ask him if he's a statue?
He kind of whispers back, I don't exactly know if that's proper etiquette. Maybe start with asking him where he's from.
Okay. Where are you from?
I can't remember actually. It's a strange story.
Can't remember where you're from? That's so
No.
sad.
And when Tonic hears that it's sad, his eyes kind of dim and he's just silent for a little bit. Yes, I suppose it is.
I guess it doesn't have to be sad. It could give you a chance to like, be whoever you want.
That's true. I have chosen my name. I can choose my future.
Yeah.
Tonic kind of turns too suddenly to the fire genasi and says, "You said you had a friend that was like me?"
He gives like a soft chuckle. Perhaps not exactly like you, but your hand.
Tonic
May
holds
I?
his hand up.
You kind of hold a hand up. The rest of you see Tonic, actually go ahead and describe like what do you see?
So it would kind of look like so sort of in between like a posable mannequin hand like that has wooden joints like a very sophisticated toy or puppet or something, and a gauntlet like an armored glove, but simple and flat pieces, not like overlapping. So basically, like kind of a wooden articulated hand with with metal over the top.
Is it at the joints? Is it solid, or can you like see through it like skeletally, or?
So the joints are kind of like ball joints, so it's like there could be fingers in there, but it doesn't look like a typical glove or a typical hand necessarily, but there's like you can't see through it. It's like if you have like a metal like a metal ball joint with like a thing hooked to it, like with the fingers hooked to it. So if he moves his fingers, it's like they move sort of like fingers do. They're sometimes they seem too stiff, and other times they seem like they don't, like they bend too much. And it's basically it seems unnatural, but there could, like, if you didn't know any better, there could be fingers in there.
You see this fire genasi kind of study it for a second, glancing at it from different angles. Not exactly like you, but I have met somebody who, well, perhaps is what part of the makeup that you are, and he kind of glances back up at your face. Is, forgive perhaps the forwardness of the question, but is all of you like this?
As far as I know.
Ziz is just happy that she didn't have to ask.
We'll kind of get
Big
closer
smile.
to the fire genasi, and like he'll kind of like tap his own face.
Interesting. And that is... It is no mask that you wear.
It's hard to say. It may be a mask, but it's part of my face?
How? And he glances at you, Shimo, for just a second. Curious.
Very.
Yeah.
He turns to Fujimi. Forgive. Continue on. We can carry on this conversation as you give us the tour. As Fujimi kind of nods. Right. I'm to the monks' quarters. Follow me. He starts to lead you back down the stairs. The fire genasi turns to you, Tonic, again. Tell me, you mentioned you seem to have no memories of where you came from.
Yes.
Brings
I
to this library.
awoke I don't know if that's the right word. I was sleeping, dormant, perhaps, for years. I do not know how many. And something in this odd night awakened me, and I wanted to help people. I ran into the night and just sort of followed the darkness and then the bright light, and then I was somewhat distracted by the majesty of this building, and when I found that it was filled with books and learning, I was even more intrigued because I know things that I don't understand and I don't remember so much, and finding information is important, feels important.
Interesting. I mean, I will admit, this building is quite impressive. I could see how you would become distracted with it, but your story intrigues me.
You have no memories.
Very, very little. I remember what things are. I know books and buildings, but I don't remember history. I have a vague memory of being with other people, helping, but mostly I do not remember where I came from or what I did. I have a journal of perhaps things that I studied, herbs and things of that nature, but no, I'm hoping to remember more, but I don't.
A journal. Would you mind?
Oh yes, of course. And I pull my little book out.
Thank you. Looking at it, what do I see?
So it's there are sketches and things, but they're sort of how would you call it? It's like it's not artistic necessarily. It's more like diagrams. Like if I drew an animal, it was to show the way the muscles work, or like when you look at it, it's not like a sketchbook. It's more of a journal of someone who wants to know how everything works and how things interact with each other. And there's also, it seems like someone who has been taking notes from other people, like learning things and writing them down that he was told secondhand.
Well, seems like you have a thirst for knowledge. And that's for sure.
Yes.
Well, you're in the right place, Fujimi kind of exclaims from the front of this little procession.
Yeah, there's lots of knowledge here. Lots of books with knowledge in them.
It is exciting. I am eager to compare and to learn.
Well, let me introduce you to the monk's quarters as he kind of opens this back door. The immediate area that you see has like a long table, probably used for dining, for meetings, for various things. Multiple chairs that kind of scatter along. The sides of the walls have several doors. Well, this is sleeping quarters for our monks who live here at the library. We eat meals here, and he points to a door at the back. The kitchen is through there, and he kind of glances to the corner where another door has been like padlocked closed. That is the entrance to the hidden library, as we like to call it, sort of a collection of more off-limits texts and artifacts and things like that. Zez and I have been charged with the task of helping some of the other monks look through the archives to see if maybe we can't figure out what's happened here tonight. Right, Zez?
Yep, we're big helpers.
Interesting. Can I assist you?
I mean, I think it would be a great... It would definitely go faster, right, Zez?
Yeah.
Hold here. One moment. You see him walk into one of the rooms as he comes back carrying like several robes of like the very scholarly monk robes, most of them in red, as he kind of lays them out on the table. It just, so you don't attract attention. Nobody will ask questions too much. And if anybody really asks, let's just say you're and as he sits there thinking, and the fire genasi, perhaps we should just say we are your Sora's personal assistants who have been away collecting information and have been assigned to the lower levels for some time. Fujimi points. Go with that. Yes, that sounds very official and very believable. Much better than what I was about to come up with.
Your assistants.
Yes, her personal assistants who have been tasked for many years guarding the hidden library.
Sora's personal assistants. Remember the name. It'd be bad if you didn't.
Sora?
Yeah.
Sora's assistants.
Ishimo picks up one of the robes and just staring at it. Fujimi, you know this is not my color.
No, it'll look really good. It looks really good on me. I'm already red. I thought it would be too much red, but
I mean, if it helps, we could go steal one of Sami's blue ones, but they're a little tight. Perhaps on you they would fit better, but definitely on me, very, very tight.
They're way too big for me.
You have your own, Zez. You don't need Sami's.
Yeah, I have blue ones and red ones.
The fire genasi kind of picks one up, slips it on. It's definitely too big. These are definitely Fujimi's robes. And Tonic, they actually they're a little loose because your frame is a little bit more slender. So they're a little loose, like around the shoulders. The sleeves hang down a little bit further. But they actually seem to fit you. The rest of you, you're just kind of like drowning in these robes.
I'm not enjoying this at all.
Fujimi,
Screw me. Are my ankles supposed to show?
But just, if anybody gets too close, just duck a little bit.
Tonic crouches down.
Perfect. Just like that. Just like that. Don't think the rest of you have that problem. Now
They have the opposite problem. They're gonna trip.
It's fine. Women walk in long skirts all the time. And he looks at you, Mima, with this look of oh, no offense.
It's an acquired skill. You should learn it. It helps with balance.
Well, next item of business.
You can stand on your toes.
Yes.
Says you didn't happen to get the key from... I think I might have left it somewhere.
I don't have a key. I can
And he's kind of rifling through his pockets, things like that. As you guys are watching, the fire genasi just kind of sighs and you could go get the key, or I could be of assistance. And Fujimi
Do you have a key?
And he looks at you, Zez. Yes.
Oh, that's
You
that's
watch
really
him
good.
go up to the lock and kind of pull out a couple of thin pieces of metal from his pocket and slip them into the lock as he kind of just opens it. See? I told you I had the key. Some
Yeah.
privileges of being related to my uncle, you could say. And he kind of like gives Fujimi a wink, and Fujimi kind of like straightens out his robes. To the hidden library then.
Why is there a hidden library? That's why I've always wondered. Like,
He
what
kinda leans
secret
down to you.
stuff is down there?
We're about to find out.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
we've totally been there before. We are. This is part of our job, and
It's just to get you guys excited. Like, it's gonna be a big surprise for everyone.
you see the fire genasi roll his eyes as he opens the door and like motions after you all. You two can lead the way as he kind of motions to you, Zez and Fujimi, since clearly you know where we are going.
Yep.
Definitely. You first, Zez.
Yeah, I think you should go first.
And he like holds up a hand towards you. Kai bye bo.
Okay.
Kai bye bo.
Oh,
You have to go first. Go.
but we didn't say. Okay, I'll go first.
Just kind of. So there's like stairs like right away?
Yeah, it descends into these stone stairs, very nicely carved. There are small little glowing orbs along the wall of the staircase that lead down, but the area below is actually fairly dark. Not a whole lot of light. You imagine that when people go down there, they take their own light source.
Maybe we should get a lantern first, because it's dark. Or can we all see in the dark?
Fujimi looks around. Zez, you know that Fujimi cannot see in the dark, but does not appear to want to admit it.
Maybe we should get a lantern just in case.
But yes, for our guests.
Yeah, because
I'll be right back. And he like scrambles and like runs into the room, comes back with one of these lanterns. And
As he's scrambling, I'm gonna say,
he can't see in the dark.
I kind of lean over to Jin and whisper, "Aren't you supposed to be a fire genasi? Isn't light your thing?"
he leans back. Fire and books do not go well together.
And I just give him a nice little pat on the shoulder.
As Fujimi returns with this lantern, it's kind of this very elegant, ornate bronze lantern, and inside of it is one of those kind of white glowing orbs. Right behind you, Zez. Got it.
Yeah.
The rest of you can follow me so that you can all see as well.
Yep, this way.
I just start going down the stairs,
Zez, as you reach the bottom,
trying to appear that I totally know where I'm going.
you have never been down here.
Yeah.
You have heard about it. You know it exists. You've overheard bits and pieces of what is contained down here. You know there are kind of like more secretive texts down here. You have been told that there are also artifacts and things like that the library has acquired that they want to keep safe down here. What perhaps you are not expecting is how expansive this place is. It seems to run through all of beneath the library and then some. There's as you hit the bottom of the stairs, there's basically this large open chamber that just contains a series of hallways that shoot off of it. As you hit the bottom of the stairs, there's a very nice rug that kind of greets you, and otherwise a pretty bare area. And all of these stone kind of carved hallway entries have various markings on them and things like that. So, as Fujimi's kind of like reading the names on each of the doorways, there are doorways that are marked historical relics. There's a doorway that is marked book collection. There's a hallway that is marked like old relics. There's one that's marked magical artifacts, and just various things, all written in kind of it's a script that you Zez have been learning to read, enough to read labels. It's primordial, but then it also has a common translation written underneath. As he looks around, well, perhaps we should start with the books, unless anybody thinks there's maybe some better answers somewhere else. After all, we're here to find answers about what happened tonight, not to simply explore everything that is down here.
Yep, that would take a long time.
Right,
What time is it? Like, is it late?
like the middle of the night.
How's the library even still open?
It's not like middle of the night. By this point in time, it's probably getting to be like 11-ish in the evening. The library generally would be closed at this hour, but because of the incidents that sort of happened, the library doors were left open, and you Zez know that most of the scholars have a hard time turning people away when they arrive at the library. So until those doors close, they kind of just let people keep coming in.
Books about books? You know,
A good place to
the
start.
book?
As you start heading down this tunnel that leads to a very large chamber with rows of shelves, similar in setup to upstairs, there is a single table down here with only 2 chairs at it. And on the table are just a couple of books that have been placed out. The rest appears to be very neatly cataloged. Standing in this library, Fujimi kind of holds this lantern up. You don't see any other lights or things like that down here, as Fujimi is kind of very carefully looking around just to see if anybody else is down here. He kind of turns back to all of you. No, perhaps the best option here would be to kind of divide and conquer. Everybody take a row. We are looking for any sort of references to whatever that thing might have been.
Purple
if anybody
eyes.
asks you, you are part of Sora's exclusive staff.
Shimo's going to approach the table to see what books are on the table.
Okay, there are 3 books that have been kind of left in a little stack in the center of the table. One of them contains it is an extensive, like basically the translation of the title would be like an expansive history of Khadesa. There is a second book that contains information on the convergence. And then the final book is a history of mythology throughout Khadesa and the surrounding areas.
Looking at where they've been left open, and just reading just like a little bit, what are the topics that they're left open to?
The kind of marked pages or places where they've been left, there are little bits of you catch little glimpses of information. The book that contains information about the convergence is left to a page that kind of summarizes the history of one of the planes. It is at the moment talking about Osanthalis, which is the plane of water, and is kind of explaining some of the deities that were well known from there. The mythology book is open to a page on phoenixes and kind of the lore that surrounds their rise from the ashes. And then finally, the book on the history of Khadesa is open towards pretty much towards the beginning, talking about the very first oracle.
Jen, how is your uncle doing?
He's seen better days, to be perfectly honest. Getting old. But I mean, alive for now.
Yes, as we know. All right, well. Did we want to venture? Are the shelves categorized in any sort of way?
Make a perception check for me.
I thought she was asking me, and I was like, oh no.
I was. But I will go ahead and make a perception check, which kind of sucked because it's a 4.
Okay. Well, the first thing that you notice is, in comparison to upstairs, the main portion of the library, like each of the ends of the shelves had like categorical titles on them. The shelves down here do not.
Okay. My question still stands as I glance down to Zez.
Yeah.
Well, you're great at categorizing. Would you know anything about the history of Khadesa, or what about stories, lore, mythology?
Are there
What?
records of anything similar to this having happened in the past?
Well, I don't know. That's what we're looking for. I know some stories, but they're not about shadow monsters.
It says most of the stories that you've paid attention enough to memorize tend to be about dragons.
Yeah. I figured.
You know lots of stories about dragons, though.
Yeah. I know stories about dragons. They're really good stories. But they're not about shadows or shadow monsters or purple eyes. Unless the dragon has purple eyes. But those are different kind of purple eyes.
You'll have to tell me about those sometime.
Okay. I like talking about dragons. I have lots of books and lots of stories about them.
During, you mentioned sleepovers. When are your sleepovers?
Well, we can plan a sleepover for any time. We can stay up late and eat candy and talk about dragons.
The area around you starts growing dimmer as you notice that Fujimi is slowly walking down one of the aisles with the lantern.
Maybe he remembered where the shadow books are.
Totally, yes. I'm pretty sure they're down. We should probably all take a row just to be safe. It's been it's dark down here.
Yep.
Shima's just gonna take a row and go for it. Just walking down, looking at the aisles and the titles of books.
I'll also take a row specifically looking for books about shadow monsters.
Okay, we'll go kind of one at a time. Are you each going to take like your own row?
I will try, and then I don't believe I have dark vision, so I wander off, and then I say, "Oh,
I'm
well,
lost."
Fujimi, I think I need to stay with you."
Oh,
I don't appear to be able to see in the dark. I
I'm
wasn't
coming,
sure before.
I'm coming. As you see him kind of round the corner of the shelves again, holding the lantern.
Ah, perfect. Thank you.
You take. How about I'll take this side of the aisle, and you take that side of the aisle.
Sounds good.
As he kind of holds the lantern up, sort of in the middle between the two of you, starts walking down. With that, Tonic, we'll start with you. Go ahead and make me an investigation check.
I'm not very good at that. Oh no. 2!
A lot of these titles are actually in languages that don't look familiar to you. The handful that are seem to be more like copies of there are like multiple copies of like essentially encyclopedias, things like that. As you walk through, most of it pretty mundane as far as fitting what you're looking for. However, to you, there's some pretty interesting looking books on plants that kind of seem like maybe they'd kind of fit in with the information in your journal.
I think I just start reading and forget what we were supposed to be looking for. And
No.
I'll take notes in my journal too to try to just learn.
About 3 shelves down, you just stop. Sitting in the aisle with books. Fujimi kind of like glances back at you and then like sets the lantern down in the center as he like tries to wander off far enough that he can still see, but like trying to like give you the light as you are clearly just engrossed in your journal. Mima, why don't you go ahead and give me an investigation check next?
Okay. Where did investigation go? Okay, that is a 13.
You find kind of in your row, once again, a lot of these books down here are written in languages that are not super commonly spoken. And most of, probably a good 2/3 of the titles aren't even things that you can read. You do, however, see several texts in the kind of ancient celestial language. Several of them containing information about, based on the titles, are kind of mythologies about Elastra, and kind of histories about the convergence, all written in celestial. There are a very sparse number of books that are in kind of the common language, and there are a handful that are also written in sort of in Sylvan, the language that kind of predominates the Yadasim, or the plane of Earth. A lot of them, however, are kind of like mythological histories or claim to be like records from the time of the convergence, things like that.
Is there any way I can try to look specifically for historical records or accounts of things that happen when there's discourse on the council, different members vehemently not getting along?
Based on the titles of the books you were seeing, it doesn't seem like there's really anything in this row that would pertain to more of like the history of like the councils.
Okay.
Zez, go ahead and make me an investigation check, if you will.
Okay. 16.
Okay.
Oh, nope. 14. That is a -1, not a +1.
Well, you can only see like the first 2 shelves.
Yes.
So you're not really sure what's being missed up top. However, on the rows of shelves that you actually can see, you find a series of books, and kind of are just glancing over the titles, most of them once again in languages that you haven't learned yet. However, about halfway down the row, something catches your eye as you see kind of in this clay cylinder. There's this clay cylinder is kind of just set very nicely on a little stand in the center of the shelf. And along the side of the clay cylinder that you know is meant to hold a scroll is the carving of a dragon.
I'd like look around. How big is it?
It's about like a foot long, about 4 inches in diameter.
I pick it up and I try
Right.
to like stuff it in my shirt, and it like isn't long enough. Like I don't have enough shirt to hide it, and
Like sticking up a little bit next to your face.
two-headed dragon now. I want to run and find somebody who I think I can ask to carry this for me.
Okay. Give me... If you will roll me just a d10.
D10. 9.
Okay. As you kind of go back out, you kind of head down the next aisle, and as you peek into it, you see Shimo standing a little bit further down this aisle of books.
Hey, Sheepo. Hi.
Oh.
I found this dragon. I want to keep it. But
Can't you come down here and read it at any time?
well, I want to take it with me. Put it
For
with my
later.
stuff.
Oh, well,
So
why
I-
don't we keep it at the table? I'm not quite finished searching this aisle.
Do you have a place that you can hide it? I'm
Uh,
too small. I tried to hide it,
Yeah.
but then it just looked like I had a really small second head.
Sure. Just put it in my satchel.
Okay.
Stick it in there.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Did you find any shadow books?
Oh.
I didn't find any.
Uh-huh.
You did?
What? What?
Shimo, go ahead and make me an investigation check.
He is thoroughly distracted. Oh, 7.
Sorry, I distracted you too much.
You are very, very distracted by these books. Not finding a lot of information on anything that titles or anything that would imply some sort of a shadow creature. However, lots of lore on various deities, and you kind of get distracted, and you can hear Zez talking behind you as you are staring at a roll, or like several rolls, kind of a bundle of scrolls all rolled together, and seeing the little tag on it, there's a note about collections of early calligraphy.
Uh-huh.
Your focus is just right there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm actually going to hold on to this and just kind of tuck it in another scroll holder, because I have a few of those. and then continue scanning the shelves, because I'm tucking that away to read for later.
As Zez, you're just watching Shimo kind of like tuck something else in to read for later, as you're just like, wait, hold mine too.
I thought I told Zez to just put it in my satchel, or yeah.
Is it like a scroll
about-
holder, or is it like an
Um,
actual scroll? Like
So he has
my
he
thing.
has
You
two
have-
Yeah.
scroll holders on either side, towards the back of his hips, and then also a satchel. And he just never leaves anywhere without it. So he would have not taken those off to change. Those would have been with him.
Zez,
And
as
it's about
you're
your height.
walking around with this tube, you definitely hear the sound of a rolled up piece of paper kind of shifting around in there.
Okay, I put it in the satchel.
Wait.
Don't, when you leave, don't leave with this. Because
Okay.
I want to keep it.
Sounds good.
As you watch Shimo just kind of wander off, eyes not even looking towards you, just like fixed on the rows and rows of like scrolls and books through here. As you guys are searching, you kind of wander through the various aisles here. Everybody who would like to, please go ahead and make me a perception check.
Six.
10.
Well,
5.
Wow, we were not perceiving anything.
Come on, Shimo.
Fujimi, come on.
Fujimi rolled way higher than any of the rest of you. Comes up with is kind of holding the lantern and but Tony, perhaps we should meet up with the others and see if they've found any. You can bring that with you to the table. It might be more
yes.
comfortable actually than the floor.
And
But don't
Tonic
let
just
anybody-
picks up all the books and puts them in his bag.
I don't think that. Well, we should probably not let people know we have them because they're supposed to stay secret down here.
Fujimi, as he kind of reaches like the front part of the library before the shelves start, where the table is, kind of looks around, is looking down the various aisles. Has anyone seen Chet?
No.
Oh. Did he get lost? Chat.
Gonna go look for him.
Quietly. Where would you like to go, Mima?
Oh god. That's a good question.
Wish my character was smart enough to know he was shady.
Um,
To not bring him into the forbidden library.
God, I'm trying to think, like, where someone like him would go. Actually, can I try to listen? Like, listen to see if I can hear anything, like footsteps or breathing not coming from our concentrated group?
Yeah, go ahead and make me a perception check for that.
This guy probably can't believe his luck. He didn't even have to
18.
talk us into
18. Much better.
He's like, great, this group of idiots is just gonna let me in. Mima, as you are kind of walking around, you move a little bit closer to the hallway that leads back out to like the main entrance to the hidden archives. And as you're listening, you think you hear a set of footsteps very faintly, kind of heading down one of the other hallways. It's hard to ascertain exactly which, but he's definitely not in this portion anymore.
Every time I get involved with them, I'm gonna see if I can follow him a little bit further.
Okay, you start to walk back down towards the main portion. Fujimi kind of glances around and like starts to follow you from a distance, with the lantern still in hand, kind of watching where you're going. Kind of that nervous, like, uh-oh. Zez, you've seen this look before. You have known Fujimi for basically since you arrived at the library, and Fujimi, while being a very kind and loving and curious person, is very well known for being extremely naive.
bless his heart.
And this is not the first time you have seen that expression of borderline panic on his face.
Maybe we shouldn't have just, like, let people down here.
It's fine. The young lady will find him. I'm their friend. I'm sure he
he's
wouldn't
just-
leave without her.
He's just lost.
I'm sure he's probably just lost. Took a wrong turn.
It is really dark.
In my head, I'm just like, he thinks he wouldn't leave without me. That's precious.
We're adorable.
Your very keen ears kind of listening down the various hallways. You think you hear something kind of off to one of the hallways on your left.
Can I peek around the corner just to see?
You kind of peer down the hallway. Make me another perception check.
Okay.
Do you need any assistance?
21!
You glance down the hallway, and you see the silhouette of a figure moving in the dark. And as you kind of look a little closer, the figure does not appear to be organic. It actually looks like it's human-sized, but appears to be made out of maybe folded paper.
What? Is an origami man down here?
I slowly back away. Turn back to the group.
Is everything all right over there?
Don't think that's him. In fact, I don't think that's a him at all.
Fujimi kind of starts coming up right behind you with the light.
Tonic is very intrigued about that, actually. And
Zez will try to keep up too, and as soon as she can see.
Mima, as you're backing away, all of a sudden you feel basically everybody else trying to move past you and look down this hallway as Fujimi raises the lantern. And as he does, the light shining down this hallway, you see this figure, sharp points at the ends of its limbs where paper has been neatly folded into these very delicate points. What appears to be the shape of a rough shape of a face, though abstract, kind of glances back at you, completely blank, no expression, turns to look at you, kind of cocks its head to the side, takes a couple of steps forward down the hall.
Tonic waves.
And as you wave, kind of glances up at you, takes another curious, almost cautious step forward. And as the five of you kind of Mima, you in the back as everyone else is kind of pushed around you to look at what's going on. Fujimi holding up this light, looking at this strange, almost human-sized piece of moving origami towards you. That feels like a good place to pause.
Oh. Pause for like 2 months.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back next week with a different group. We will pick up this little side plot in a little while. We will be going on break shortly. Next week will be our kind of mid-season pause while I have the lovely privilege of taking boards exams. So thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to join us next week for our mid-season finale. And thank you all, as always, so much for watching and listening.